Ambassador Jiho Park stood at the entrance of the Galactic Council building. The structure reached high into the dark sky, made entirely of blue crystal that seemed to glow from within. Even after 3 years as Earth's representative, the sight still made him pause. "Sir, we should go inside," his assistant Yoon Ji Kim said quietly. She held a datapad close to her chest. "The session starts in 5 minutes. Jiho nodded but didn't move right away. He remembered his first day here. Full of hope and excitement, Earth had finally joined the Galactic Council. Humanity was part of something bigger. But that excitement had faded quickly. The other species treated humans like children at an adult gathering. They smiled politely, but never took Earth seriously. To them, humanity was too new, too primitive, too unimportant to matter. "Let's go," Jiho finally said. They walked through the massive entrance doors that opened silently at their approach. The main corridor stretched before them, lined with portraits of the founding species. Each image showed proud alien faces that had shaped the galaxy for thousands of years. No human portrait hung on these walls. Not yet. Other delegates passed them in the hallway. A group of tall, gray-skinned Zalathi scientists barely glanced their way. Two Quellian traders with their distinctive purple skin and forearms whispered to each other, occasionally looking at the humans with what Jiho recognized as amusement. "They're all here early today," Yoonji observed. "Whatever the Vorthic Empire called this meeting for, it must be important." Jiho had been thinking the same thing. Emergency sessions were rare. The last one had been called when a supernova threatened several inhabited systems. Before that, it was the discovery of a new spacefaring species. But this time, the summons had been vague. Just one line: to address urgent matters concerning galactic stability. They entered the main chamber, and Jiho took his usual seat at the far end of the semicircular arrangement. Earth's position, both literally and symbolically, was on the edges. The important species sat closer to the center, where the council's leader presided. The chamber itself was a marvel of alien architecture. The ceiling displayed a real-time view of the galaxy. Stars slowly spinning overhead. The walls could become transparent at will, showing the void of space beyond the station. Advanced holographic projectors created perfect three-dimensional images in the center of the room. For presentations, Jiho watched as the other council members took their places. 7 ancient civilizations made up the permanent council. Each one had controlled vast regions of space for millennia. Each one looked at humanity as barely worth noticing. High Chancellor Vexter of the Vorthic Empire entered last. The Vorthic were humanoid but taller, with gray-green skin and completely black eyes. They were the galaxy's military power, with the largest fleet and the most aggressive expansion policy. Vexter's heavy boots clicked against the floor as he walked to the central podium. His military uniform displayed countless medals and symbols of conquest. When he spoke, his deep voice filled the chamber without need for amplification. "Council members," he began, his black eyes scanning the room. "Thank you for answering this urgent summons. We face a situation that threatens the careful balance we have maintained for 3,000 years. Jiho felt Yoonji shift nervously beside him. She pulled up files on her datapad, ready to take notes. "The matter we must discuss today," Vexter continued, his gaze finally settling on Jiho, "concerns the human problem." The human problem. Jiho kept his expression neutral, but inside, his mind raced. He had expected something like this eventually, but not so soon. Crixmold of the Zalathi spoke up. The Zalathi were the galaxy's technology masters. Their thin bodies adapted for low gravity, their large heads holding enhanced brains. "Please clarify, Chancellor. What specific concerns do you have about the humans?" Vexter activated the central holographic display. A map of the galaxy appeared, with small blue dots marking human colonies. 3 years ago, we allowed humanity to join this council. They had achieved faster-than-light travel and met the minimum requirements for membership. We were generous in our assessment. The word generous carried a weight of condescension that made Jiho's jaw tighten. "Since then," Vexter continued, "humanity has established 17 new colonies. 17. In just 3 years. This rate of expansion is unprecedented for a new member species." The Quellian trade master, a being named Kixdel, leaned forward. The Quellians controlled most of the galaxy's trade routes, their forearms allowing them to manipulate complex control systems with ease. "Expansion alone is not a violation of council law." "No," Vexter agreed, "but combined with their military buildup, it shows a concerning pattern. Our intelligence indicates that Earth has constructed 15 new warships in the past year alone. They claim these are for colony defense, but the designs are clearly offensive in nature. Jiho wanted to speak up, to defend Earth's position, but protocol demanded he wait to be addressed directly. He caught the eye of Ambassador Zephyx from the Altarian Collective, one of the few species that had shown any friendliness toward humanity. The tall, willowy alien gave an almost imperceptible shake of her head. Not yet. The presentation continued. Images of human ships appeared in the hologram. Jiho recognized the designs, the new Titan-class cruisers that Earth shipyards had been producing. They were powerful ships, yes, but hardly the threat Vexter was making them out to be. Furthermore, the Vorthic Chancellor said, the humans have repeatedly refused to share their quantum drive modifications with the Council. This technology, which allows their ships to travel faster than standard drives, could benefit all member species, yet they claim it is still experimental and unsafe for distribution. This was true. Earth scientists had made breakthroughs in quantum mechanics that improved FTL travel efficiency by 30%, but the technology was still being refined, and humanity wasn't ready to hand over their one advantage to species that clearly saw them as inferior. And there is the matter of their genetic research, added another council member, the hive mind representative of the Swarven Collective. Thousands of insect-like beings spoke with one voice. Through their chosen speaker, they pushed the boundaries of what is acceptable, enhancing their soldiers beyond natural limits. Jiho knew this accusation was exaggerated. Earth's genetic therapies help soldiers adapt to different planetary environments and gravity conditions. Every spacefaring species had similar programs, but when humans did it, somehow it became threatening. The chamber filled with murmurs of agreement. Jiho could feel the mood turning against humanity, orchestrated carefully by Vexter's presentation. This wasn't just a discussion, it was a trial, and humanity was the defendant. Finally, Vexter turned to face Jiho directly. Ambassador Park, surely you can understand our concerns. Your species has shown remarkable ambition in a very short time. While admirable in some ways, it disrupts the stability we have worked to maintain. What assurances can you give us that humanity's expansion will not threaten galactic peace? Jiho stood slowly, aware that every eye in the chamber was now on him. He straightened his uniform, Earth's blue and green emblem bright against the dark fabric. When he spoke, he kept his voice calm and measured. High Chancellor, distinguished council members, he began, I understand your concerns, but I must respectfully disagree with your assessment. Humanity's expansion follows all council guidelines. Our colony worlds were uninhabited. Our military serves purely defensive purposes, protecting our civilians from pirates and unknown threats. Defensive purposes? Vexter interrupted. Your new ships carry weapons that could destroy a city with a single shot, as do the ships of every member species here. Jiho countered. The galaxy is dangerous. We've lost 2 exploration vessels to unknown attackers in the Outer Rim. We have the right to protect ourselves. The Zalathi representative spoke again. And the technology sharing. The Council has always operated on principles of mutual benefit. Jiho had prepared for this question. Earth is happy to share technologies that are stable and tested. Our quantum drive modifications are still experimental. 3 test ships have suffered catastrophic failures. We won't risk other species' lives with unproven technology. It was partially true. The failures had happened, but Earth scientists had solved those problems months ago. But humanity needed every advantage it could get in a galaxy that seemed increasingly hostile. Vexter's expression darkened. Your excuses grow tiresome, Ambassador. The Council sees through these delay tactics. Which brings me to the real purpose of this session. The holographic display changed again, showing legal documents written in the common galactic trade language. Jiho's enhanced translation implant processed the text instantly, and what he read made his blood run cold. We propose immediate restrictions on human expansion, Vexter announced. No new colonies for the next 50 years, decommissioning of all military vessels beyond basic patrol craft, and immediate sharing of all technological advances with the Council for proper distribution. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some members nodded in agreement, others looked uncertain. Jiho felt Yunji's hand grip his arm in shock. The debate in the council chamber grew louder. Different species argued about the proposed restrictions on humanity. Some supported Vexter's harsh measures, others thought they went too far. Jiho sat quietly, listening to his species being discussed like a problem to be solved. The humans have shown remarkable progress, Ambassador Zephyx of the Altarian Collective said. Her tall, thin frame swayed as she spoke. Punishing them for success seems counterproductive. Success? Chancellor Vexter's voice boomed across the chamber. You call their reckless expansion success? They spread across the galaxy like a virus, claiming worlds without thought for consequence. Jiho felt his teeth clench. A virus, that's how the Vorthok saw humanity. He glanced at Yunji, who was furiously taking notes on her data pad. Her face was pale but determined. The Quellian trade master raised one of his forearms. The economic data doesn't support your virus comparison, Chancellor. Human colonies have increased trade by 12% in their sectors. They buy our goods, sell their resources. It benefits everyone. Short-term gains. Vexter dismissed the argument. What happens when they control enough systems to dictate trade terms? When their military becomes strong enough to enforce their will? Crixmold of the Zalathi adjusted his large head. His enhanced brain processing countless calculations. The probability analysis shows human expansion following standard patterns for emerging civilizations. Nothing indicates hostile intent yet, Vexter added darkly. Nothing indicates hostile intent yet. But we've seen this before. Species that grow too fast, too aggressively. They always become problems. The Zirian Commonwealth, the Thalas Empire, both started as promising members. Both had to be contained. Jiho knew those names. The Zirian had challenged council authority 800 years ago. The resulting war had devastated dozens of systems. The Thalas had tried to break the council's trade monopolies. They were now confined to a single system, their expansion permanently blocked. Humanity is different, Ambassador Zephyx insisted. They've shown willingness to cooperate, to learn our ways, have they? Vexter turned to face Jiho directly. Ambassador Park, you speak of cooperation, yet your people refuse to share their quantum drive improvements. You claim safety concerns, but our intelligence suggests otherwise. Jiho stood again, keeping his voice steady. Chancellor, I've explained our position. The technology isn't ready for widespread use. When it is, Earth will gladly share it with all council members. Lies, Vexter said flatly. Our spies report your quantum drives are fully functional. You're already installing them in your new warships. You keep this advantage for yourselves while pretending friendship. The accusation hung in the air. Jiho knew Vexter was right about the drives being ready, but he couldn't admit it. Earth needed every edge it could get. Furthermore, Vexter continued, we have reports of secret human facilities in the Kepler systems. Hidden bases conducting unknown research. What are you hiding, Ambassador? This was news to Jiho. If Earth had secret facilities, even he didn't know about them, but he couldn't show surprise. I'm not aware of any hidden bases, Chancellor. Perhaps your intelligence is mistaken. Mistaken? Vexter's black eyes narrowed. The Vorthok intelligence service does not make mistakes. You're either lying or your own government keeps secrets from you. Neither option inspires confidence. The Swarven collective speaker buzzed, their compound eyes reflecting the chamber's lights. The hive mind calculates a 73% probability that humans are concealing significant technological advances. This supports the Chancellor's concerns. Jiho felt the tide turning decisively against Earth. More council members were nodding, swayed by Vexter's arguments and the Swarven's calculations. He needed to act, but carefully. Distinguished council members, Jiho began. Earth has been part of this council for only 3 years. In that time, we've followed every law, paid every tax, contributed to every collective project. We've earned the right to develop our colonies and protect our people. Rights are earned through trust. Vexter countered, and trust requires transparency. Your people's secretive nature, their rapid military buildup, their territorial expansion, these are not the actions of a trustworthy species. The Chancellor turned to address the full council. Therefore, I formally propose the following restrictions on human activity, effective immediately. The holographic display changed, showing a detailed list of limitations. Jiho read them with growing alarm. First, all human expansion beyond current systems is forbidden for 50 standard years. Second, the human military fleet will be reduced to no more than 20 vessels, all light patrol craft. Existing warships must be decommissioned within 1 year. Third, all human technological research must be registered with and monitored by the Council's Science Committee. Fourth, human colonies will accept permanent Council observers to ensure compliance. Fifth, the quantum drive technology and all related research must be surrendered to the Council immediately. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just restriction. It was essentially stripping humanity of independence. making them a client species dependent on council approval for everything. Jiho's mind raced. He thought of Admiral Lee waiting with the fleet, of Earth's hidden preparations, of the contingency plans they'd hoped never to use. Through his neural implant, he sent another encrypted message, code orange. Prepare for possible implementation of Phoenix Protocol. The reply came instantly. Phoenix Protocol ready. Awaiting your command. These terms are unacceptable, Jiho said aloud, his voice carrying new steel. You're not asking for cooperation. You're demanding surrender. No sovereign species would agree to such restrictions. Vexter's expression didn't change. Then humanity must decide what matters more, their sovereignty or their membership in the council. These terms are not negotiable. And if we refuse? Jiho asked, though he already knew the answer. Then humanity will be subject to protective intervention, Vexter said. Council peacekeeping forces will ensure compliance. Your colonies will be occupied. Your ships will be seized. Your technology will be confiscated. All for the greater good of galactic stability. Protective intervention. Such clean words for military occupation and the end of human independence. Jiho looked around the chamber, searching for support, but found few sympathetic faces. Even Ambassador Zephyx avoided his gaze. You have 72 hours to respond, Vexter announced. The council will reconvene to hear Earth's decision. Until then, human ships are restricted to their current positions. Any aggressive movement will be considered an act of defiance. The Zalathi representative added, we've already positioned monitoring satellites round all human colonies. Your activities are being watched. We encourage compliance, Ambassador Park. The alternative would be unfortunate. Jiho felt the weight of the moment. 3 years of careful diplomacy had led to this. Humanity being treated like a rogue nation, threatened with force if they didn't submit to crippling restrictions. Everything Earth's leaders had feared was coming true. I need to consult with my government, Jiho said formally. Such significant decisions cannot be made without proper discussion. Of course, Vexter agreed with mock courtesy. You have 72 hours. But understand this, Ambassador, the Council has made its position clear. These measures will be implemented, either with your cooperation or without it. As the session concluded, Jiho gathered his materials slowly, his mind already working on the real response. Round him, Council members filed out, many avoiding eye contact. Only Ambassador Zephyx paused near his position. I'm sorry, she whispered. I tried to argue against this, but the votes were already secured. The Chancellor has been planning this for months. Thank you for trying, Jiho replied quietly. But perhaps it's time humanity stopped seeking approval from those who see us as inferiors. Zephyx looked startled. What do you mean? Jiho didn't answer. He walked out of the chamber with Yoonji close behind. Once they were in the corridor, away from listening devices, Yoonji spoke. Sir, what are we going to do? These demands, Earth will never accept them. No, we won't. Jiho agreed. He touched his temple, activating the quantum communicator. Again, Admiral Lee, this is Ambassador Park. Code Red. Implement Phoenix Protocol. All units to standby positions. The Admiral's voice came through clearly. Code Red confirmed. Phoenix Protocol active. The fleet is moving into position. Estimated time to full deployment, 12 hours. Yoonji's eyes widened. Phoenix Protocol. That's the emergency response plan. Are we really doing this? Jiho nodded grimly. The Council just showed their true intentions. They never saw us as equals. They want humanity weak and controlled. But they've made a crucial mistake. What mistake? They assumed we'd been showing them everything. They assumed their intelligence knew all our secrets. They assumed Earth had been playing with our full hand. Jiho smiled coldly. They assumed. Wrong. As they walked toward their quarters, Jiho sent one final message, this one to Earth itself, to the secret facilities hidden in quantum shadow, to the forces that even he had only recently learned about. Authorization Park Alpha 7, alert. Status, maximum. Prepare for Revelation Protocol. The masks come off in 68 hours. 2 days passed quickly. The Council station buzzed with activity as member species prepared for humanity's response. Most expected Earth to surrender to the demands, after all. What choice did they have against the combined might of the galaxy's oldest civilizations? Jiho entered the Council chamber with measured steps. Beside him walked someone new, a woman in a white coat carrying a small device. Her name tag read Dr. Hannah Choi, Earth Science Division. The Council members looked curious. They had expected only the ambassador. Who was this scientist, and why was she here? Chancellor Vexter called the session to order. his black eyes fixed on Jiho with satisfaction. He believed humanity was about to submit. Ambassador Park, Vexter began. The 72 hours have passed. We await Earth's response to our protective measures. Jiho stood slowly. The chamber fell silent. Everyone waited for the words of surrender they were sure would come. High Chancellor, distinguished council members, Jiho began. Earth has carefully considered your proposed restrictions. We have reached our decision. Vexter leaned forward slightly, a small smile playing on his lips. But before we announce that decision, Jiho continued, we feel it's time to share some information with the council. Information we've kept private. Until now, Dr. Choi. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. This was unexpected. Hannah stepped forward, activating the small device in her hand. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room. 3 years ago, Hannah began, her voice clear and confident, when Earth joined this council. We were denied access to most advanced technologies. We were told we were too primitive, too new to understand them safely. The display showed technical readouts and scientific formulas. Most council members couldn't follow the complex mathematics, but the Zalathi scientists leaned forward with interest. So we decided to develop our own technologies. Hannah continued, not just improvements to existing designs, but completely new approaches to physics itself. The hologram changed, showing a star system, the Kepler 442 system. According to the label, the council members shifted uncomfortably. This was one of the areas where their sensors had detected unusual readings. This is a live feed, Hannah announced. Impossible. Crick's mold of the Zalathi interrupted. That system is 1,200 light-years away. Real-time communication over such distance violates known physics. Hannah smiled. Known physics, yes. But humanity has discovered new physics. The image zoomed in on the star. What they saw made several council members gasp. Massive structures orbited the star, constructions that dwarfed anything the council had built. Energy collectors gathered the star's power. Shipyards stretched for thousands of kilometers. Factory complexes processed materials on an unimaginable scale. What are we looking at? The Quellian trade master demanded, his forearms gesturing in confusion. A Dyson swarm. Hannah replied simply, humanity's first. We completed it 6 months ago. The chamber erupted in chaos. Voices rose in disbelief, in anger, in fear. A Dyson swarm was a theoretical construct, a vast array of solar collectors surrounding a star, to harvest its entire energy output. No civilization in the galaxy had successfully built one. Silence, Vexter roared. The chamber quieted. This is a fabrication. Our sensors show nothing in that system. Your sensors see what we allow them to see. Hannah said calmly, let me introduce you to quantum masking. She manipulated the controls. The image shifted, showing the same system from a different perspective. Now it appeared empty. Just as the council's sensors reported, we developed technology that doesn't just hide objects. Hannah explained, it removes them from normal space-time. They exist in quantum shadow, invisible to all conventional detection methods. The Zalathi representative was frantically working his own controls, trying to verify what he was seeing. His large head turned pale. The mathematics, they actually work. This isn't theoretical. They've actually done it. Jiho stepped forward. But that's just the beginning, Dr. Choi. Please show them the fleet. The hologram changed again. This time it showed empty space near the council station. Then, like a curtain being pulled back, reality seemed to ripple. Ships appeared, hundreds of them, each one larger than anything in the council's databases. But these weren't normal ships. They seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their hulls shifted and flowed, adapting to conditions in real time. Weapons systems used principles that made the Zalathi scientists whimper in confusion. Our quantum fleet, Hannah announced, each vessel equipped with dimensional fold drives, reality anchors, and weapons that can ignore conventional shields. Chancellor, Vexter stood abruptly. You dare bring warships to the council station? This is an act of war. No, Jiho said firmly. This is a demonstration. These ships have been here for days, completely undetected. We're showing them to you now as a courtesy. The Swarven collective speaker buzzed frantically. The hive mind cannot process this data. These technologies should not be possible with human science levels. That's because you never understood human science, Jiho replied. You judged us by your own standards. Assumed we would develop along the same paths you did. But humans think differently. We see possibilities where you see limitations. Hannah pulled up more displays. Technical specifications filled the air. construction techniques that defied Council understanding, energy generation methods that seemed to violate thermodynamics, defensive systems that made conventional weapons obsolete. 43 Dyson swarms, Hannah listed. 15,000 quantum shadow colonies, a fleet of 80,000 vessels, dimensional research stations in folded space, all built in the last 3 years, all hidden from your sensors. The Quellian trade master found his voice. But how? The resources alone would be impossible to gather without detection. Asteroid mining in quantum shadow, Hannah explained. Energy harvesting from stellar cores, matter creation through controlled quantum fluctuations. We didn't just advance existing technology, we rewrote the rules. Ambassador Zephyx stared at the displays in awe. The implications, if this is real. Humanity has surpassed every civilization in the galaxy. It's real, Jiho confirmed. He pulled up another display showing communication logs. We've been in contact with species in other galaxies. The Council's restrictions on intergalactic communication? We bypassed them 2 years ago. The revelations kept coming. Biological enhancements that made humans adaptable to any environment. Artificial intelligences that made the Council's computers look like calculators. Manufacturing techniques that could build a starship in days instead of years. With each reveal, the Council members grew more silent. The arrogance and superiority they had shown just days ago evaporated. They were looking at a civilization that had jumped ahead by millennia while they weren't watching. The quantum drive improvements you wanted us to share, Hannah smiled. Those were obsolete technology. We leaked that information to see if you were spying on us. Thank you for confirming our suspicions. Vexter finally found his voice. You've been deceiving us from the beginning. No, Jiho corrected. We've been protecting ourselves. Every new species that joins the Council faces the same choice: submit to restrictions that keep them weak, or be declared a threat. We chose a third option, which is, the Zalathi whispered, to become too strong to threaten. Jiho said simply, you thought you were protecting the galaxy from us. In reality, we were preparing to protect the galaxy from stagnation. He gestured to the fleet display. These ships aren't just warships, they're exploration vessels, designed to push beyond this galaxy, to find new knowledge, new allies, new possibilities. While you've spent millennia maintaining the status quo, we've been preparing for the future. The chamber remained silent. The most powerful civilizations in the galaxy were faced with a truth they couldn't deny. Humanity hadn't just caught up. They had leaped so far ahead that the old order was obsolete. So, Vexter said slowly, his voice lacking its usual authority, what happens now? Jiho smiled. But it wasn't triumphant, it was hopeful. Now we talk about the future. The real future. Not one where older civilizations restrict the growth of newer ones, but one where all species work together to achieve what none could accomplish alone. He looked around the chamber at the shocked faces. The age of the Galactic Council as you knew it is over. The question is, are you ready to be part of something better? Outside the windows, the human fleet shimmered in and out of quantum shadow, a reminder that everything had changed. The day Earth shocked the Galactic Council had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Council chamber was in complete chaos. Some members shouted in disbelief. Others frantically checked their instruments, trying to find flaws in what they were seeing. The Vorthic delegation huddled together, whispering urgently. Chancellor. Vexter's face had turned a darker shade of gray-green. Order. Vexter finally commanded, but his voice lacked its usual power. This council demands proof. Images can be faked, holograms can lie. If humanity truly possesses such technology, demonstrate it now. Jiho nodded to Dr. Hannah Choi. She smiled and touched her wrist device. Admiral Lee, please begin the demonstration. A new voice filled the chamber, strong, confident, and unmistakably human. This is Admiral Dong-Wook Lee of the Earth Defense Fleet. Demonstration protocol activated. Through the massive windows of the Council station, space itself began to change. Where empty void had been moments before, reality twisted and bent. Like waves on water, distortion spread across the view. Then, with no flash or sound, a ship appeared. But this was no ordinary vessel. The S-Soul materialized directly in front of the station, close enough that its hull filled the entire view. The ship was massive, easily 5 times larger than the biggest Vorthic dreadnought. Its surface seemed to flow like liquid metal, constantly adapting and changing. The Zalathi scientists were the first to realize what they were seeing. Impossible. Crixmold gasped. They appeared inside the defense perimeter, through our shields. That simply cannot be done. Your shield stops ships in normal space, Hannah explained. Our vessels don't travel through normal space. We fold reality itself. More ships began appearing, not arriving from distant points, but simply existing where nothing had been before. 10 ships, 20, 50, 100, each one unique, each one defying conventional design principles. The Swarven collective speaker began making high-pitched sounds of distress. The hive mind cannot track them. They exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Our targeting systems see them everywhere. And nowhere. Chancellor Vexter turned to his military advisors. Activate station defenses. All weapons online. Now the station's defensive systems powered up. Massive energy weapons that could destroy moons swiveled to target the human ships. Missile systems locked on. Shield generators hummed to maximum power. Jiho raised his hand. I wouldn't recommend that, Chancellor. You threaten us in our own station? Vexter snarled. We have enough firepower to destroy your entire fleet, do you? Jiho asked calmly. Admiral Lee, defensive demonstration please. Outside, one of the Council's defense satellites fired. A beam of concentrated energy powerful enough to split asteroids lanced toward the Sol. The beam hit the ship and simply disappeared. Not deflected, not absorbed, it just ceased to exist. Reality anchoring, Hannah commented casually. We decide what exists in our local spacetime. Energy weapons are just organized particles. We choose not to let them exist near our hulls. More weapons fired, missiles launched, exotic particles streamed toward the human ships. Nothing reached its target. Every attack simply vanished at a certain distance from the vessels. Captain Sumin O's voice joined the communication. Galactic Council, this is the Horizon. Our defensive systems are passive only. We have no wish to harm anyone, but your weapons cannot touch us. The Quellian trade masters for arms waved frantically. What about commerce? Trade? Surely these technologies have peaceful applications. Many, Jiho agreed. Dr. Choi, show them the gateway. The hologram changed to show a different section of space. A massive ring structure floated there, its interior filled with swirling energy. As the council watched, a cargo vessel approached the ring and vanished into the energy field. Instant transportation between any 2 points in the galaxy. Hannah announced, no travel time, no fuel costs. We've built hundreds of these gates in our territory. Trade between worlds that once took months now happens in seconds. The trade master's purple skin shifted through several colors, the Quellian equivalent of extreme excitement. The economic implications are staggering. Transportation costs would drop to zero. Markets could be unified across the entire galaxy. Exactly. Jiho nodded. But the council wanted to restrict our expansion, limit our technology sharing. You saw us as a threat instead of an opportunity. The demonstration continued. Construction bots the size of gnats swarmed out from one ship, building a space station. In minutes instead of years, a terraforming beam turned a dead asteroid into a garden in seconds. Medical scanners that could detect and cure any disease with a single pulse. The Altarian ambassador Zephyx spoke up. These advances could solve every problem we face. Energy shortages, resource conflicts, disease. Why did you hide this from US? Because you weren't ready, Jiho said bluntly. Your first response to our success was to try to cripple us. Imagine if we had revealed these technologies earlier. What would you have done? The silence in the chamber was answer enough. They would have demanded the technology, tried to control it, probably attempted to destroy humanity before they became too powerful. Commander Wu Jin Bang's voice crackled over the comm system. Shall I demonstrate our offensive capabilities? Ambassador, not yet. Commander, Jiho replied. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But Vexter wasn't finished. The Chancellor's black eyes blazed with a mixture of fear and anger. You speak of peace, yet you bring warships to our doorstep. You claim to want cooperation, yet you've been deceiving us from the start. How can we trust anything you say? You can't, Jiho admitted. Trust is earned, and we haven't earned yours, just as you haven't earned ours. But we can start fresh, today, right now. Hannah pulled up a new display. It showed star charts, but not just of their galaxy. Dozens of galaxies appeared, connected by thin lines of light. We've made contact with civilizations in 37 other galaxies, she revealed. Species so advanced they make our current technology look primitive. They're waiting to meet you all, but they have one requirement, which is, the Zalathi asked weakly, no more restrictions on younger species. No more controlling development. No more maintaining the status quo through fear. They want partners, not subjects. The implications were staggering. Contact with extragalactic civilizations. technologies beyond imagination, knowledge that could transform existence itself, all of it waiting, but requiring the Council to change its fundamental nature. You're asking us to abandon 3,000 years of tradition, Vexter said. No, Jiho corrected. We're asking you to evolve. The universe is vast and full of wonders, but you'll never see them if you keep trying to control everything within your reach. Admiral Lee's voice returned. Ambassador, we're detecting Vorthic fleet movements. 3 battle groups are approaching the station. Vexter straightened. I called for reinforcements when your ships appeared. Whatever technologies you possess, you cannot stand against the combined might of the Vorthic Empire. Jiho sighed. Admiral, implement reality shield around the approaching Vorthic ships. Don't harm them. Just stop them. In the distance, the approaching Vorthic vessels suddenly slowed, then stopped completely. They floated in space, unable to move forward or backward, their weapons powered down. Their engines continued firing, but produced no thrust. Local spacetime manipulation. Hannah explained casually. We've placed them in a temporal bubble. No time passes for them. They'll be fine when we release them. The demonstration of power was complete. The human fleet hadn't fired a single shot, yet they had neutralized the galaxy's most powerful military force with apparent ease. The message was clear. Humanity could defend itself against any threat. So, Jiho addressed the stunned council. Shall we discuss the future? Or do you need more demonstrations? The silence that followed was different from before. It wasn't just shock or fear. It was the sound of an old order realizing its time had passed. The galaxy would never be the same, and everyone in the chamber knew it outside. The human fleet maintained position, their reality-bending technology a constant reminder that a new age had begun. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. For the first time in 3,000 years, the ancient species who ruled the galaxy sat in complete silence. They stared at the human ambassador and his scientist companion with expressions of shock, fear, and growing understanding. Chancellor Vexter stood motionless at his podium. His gray-green skin had paled to almost white. The mighty leader of the Vorthic Empire, who had commanded fleets and conquered worlds, looked like a confused child facing something beyond his comprehension. We need time, Vexter finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. Time to process this information. Time to discuss among ourselves. Jiho shook his head gently. Time is something we no longer have in abundance, Chancellor. The universe is moving forward, with or without this council. Humanity offers you a choice. Join us in shaping the future, or watch from the sidelines as others lead the way. Dr. Hannah Choi stepped forward again. She touched her wrist device, and new images filled the holographic display. These showed planets transformed into gardens, cities that floated in space. Beings of pure energy working alongside physical species. The civilizations we've contacted in other galaxies have agreed to a meeting, she announced, not just with humanity, but with all species willing to embrace change. They call it the Universal Assembly. No restrictions, no hierarchies based on age or power, just beings working together for mutual benefit. The Zalathi representative Crixmold leaned forward, his large head tilting in curiosity. What do these extragalactic species want from us? Surely beings so advanced have no need for our technologies or resources. They want diversity of thought, Jiho explained. Each species sees the universe differently. Each one solves problems in unique ways. Together, we can achieve what none could accomplish alone. But it requires leaving old prejudices behind. The Quellian trade master raised one of his forearms. If we agree to this new arrangement, what happens to our existing trade agreements? Our territorial claims, our defense pacts, they evolve, Jiho said simply. With instant transportation technology, territorial boundaries become less important. With unlimited energy from stars, resource conflicts disappear. With shields that make war obsolete, defense pacts transform into exploration alliances. Commander Wu Jin Bang's voice came through the communication system. Ambassador, we're receiving signals from multiple council worlds. News of our demonstration has spread. Several smaller species are requesting direct contact with Earth. This caused another stir in the chamber. The smaller species, those denied full council membership, kept as client states by the major powers, were already reaching out to humanity. Vexter's eyes narrowed. You planned this. You're trying to break the council's authority by appealing directly to our protectorates. We're offering them the same choice we're offering you. Jiho replied calmly. Freedom to develop, freedom to explore, freedom to become what they're capable of being. The age of controlling other species is over. Ambassador Zephix of the Altarian Collective stood slowly, her tall, willowy form swayed as she spoke. The Altarians have always believed in cooperation over domination. We vote to accept humanity's proposal and join this universal assembly. Her words broke the dam. The Swarven Collective buzzed in agreement. The hive mind calculates greater benefit in cooperation than conflict. We also agree. One by one, other species began to voice their support. Even some of Vexter's own allies seemed swayed by the possibilities humanity offered. The Chancellor watched his carefully maintained power structure crumble before his eyes. And, if the Vorthok refuse? Vexter asked, though his voice had lost its threatening edge. Jiho's expression remained diplomatic. Then you'll be left behind, not attacked, not destroyed. Simply bypassed as the rest of the galaxy moves forward. Your military might means nothing against those who can step outside of reality itself. Your trade leverage disappears when others can transport goods instantly. You'll become a footnote in history. The empire that chose stagnation over growth. The words hit home. Vexter looked around the chamber, seeing the future taking shape without his approval. Even his own advisors were whispering among themselves, clearly considering humanity's offer. Admiral Domwook Lee's voice returned. Ambassador, the trapped Vorthok fleet is requesting communication. They want to negotiate their release. Release them, Jiho instructed. No conditions, show them we mean no harm. In the distance, the three Vorthok battle groups suddenly resumed normal movement. Their crews, unaware that time had passed, found themselves facing a completely changed situation. Their commanders immediately began sending confused reports. Back to the council station. You could have destroyed them, Vexter observed. Why didn't you? Because destruction is easy, Jiho answered. Building something better is hard. We choose the harder path. The Quellian trade master had been working his controls, running calculations. The economic benefits of joining this universal assembly are astronomical. Trade with multiple galaxies, technologies we can't even imagine. The Quellian consortium formally accepts humanity's proposal. More agreements followed. The Zalathi, after confirming the scientific principles behind human technology, enthusiastically joined. Even species that had been silent for centuries spoke up, eager to be part of this new age. Finally, only the Vorthok remained undecided. Vexter stood alone at his podium, the weight of his choice visible on his face. His empire had ruled through strength for millennia. Now that strength meant nothing. The Vorthok have always prided themselves on military power, he said slowly. But what is power against those who can rewrite reality itself? What is conquest when the universe offers infinite resources? What is control when cooperation yields greater rewards? He paused, then straightened his shoulders. The Vorthok Empire chooses to evolve. We accept humanity's proposal. The chamber erupted in activity. For the first time in council history, all member species had unanimously agreed on a fundamental change. The old order was officially over. Jiho smiled. The first genuine smile he'd shown in the chamber. Thank you all. The hard work begins now. Transforming our galaxy won't happen overnight. But together, we can build something magnificent. Dr. Hannah activated her device one last time. The holographic display showed a new image. Representatives from hundreds of species, many never seen before, gathering in a vast chamber that seemed to exist between dimensions. The first Universal Assembly convenes in 30 days, she announced. Earth will provide transportation for all delegates. Quantum gates are being constructed near every inhabited world as we speak. As the session concluded, Jiho found himself surrounded by other ambassadors, all eager to learn more about the new age beginning. Even Vexter approached, his military bearing replaced by something almost like humility. Perhaps, the Chancellor said quietly, humanity's rapid growth wasn't a threat after all. Perhaps it was exactly what this galaxy needed. Jiho nodded. Respectfully, we all have much to learn from each other. That's the point. No one species has all the answers. 6 months later, the transformed Galactic Council met for its final session. The old chamber would become a museum, a reminder of how things once were. The new Universal Assembly Hall existed in quantum space, accessible instantly from anywhere in multiple galaxies. Ambassador Jiho Park stood before the assembled species one last time. Beside him were Yoonji Kim, Dr. Hannah Choi, Admiral Domwook Lee, and other humans who had helped change history. The day Earth shocked the Galactic Council is over, Jiho announced. Today begins the age where all species shock each other with what they can achieve together. The stars are calling. Let's answer as one outside. The human fleet dissolved back into quantum shadow. Their demonstration no longer needed. They had accomplished their mission, not through conquest, but by showing the galaxy a better way forward. The new order had begun, and the universe would never be the same.